one interesting anecdote is the whole Atkins diet craze. Atkins, and we needn't talk about the merits or lack thereof in a just cut carbohydrate approach to dieting, although I will note that everything from lentils to lollipops is carbohydrate, so that kind of sums up my view on that topic. But let's face it, it became a very popular diet, in particular after a cover story in the New York Times Magazine, What If Fat Doesn't Make Us Fat by Gary Taubes. The diet took off into the stratosphere. It went from millions of readers to tens of millions of readers. What happened? What happened was every supermarket in America filled up with low-carbohydrate foods. Now, frankly, folks, and I trust you figured this out by yourselves, most of this was high-calorie, low-carbohydrate crap, but it was there for your selection. And the interesting thing about this was there was no policy reform. There was no legislation that Congress passed that said every supermarket must offer low-carb food. Every supermarket in America filled up with low-carb food for one reason and one reason only. You wanted it. Maybe not you personally, we wanted it. Our society wanted it. We talk about the food supply as if it's the Himalayas, as if it's this immutable thing. It's not. There is one thing that very reliably trumps the food supply, and that is the food demand, because at the end of the day, the business of business is business, and they're just trying to keep the customer satisfied. It depends what we want. Now, the problem in our current mess is we want all the wrong stuff. Why do we want the wrong stuff? Well, because taste buds are very malleable little fellas. They learn to like what they know. We're bathing our taste buds in too much sugar, too much salt, too much processed food all day long. That's what they know and crave. And this in its own right is a complicated and potentially lengthy topic. The average breakfast cereal in the United States is saltier than your diet should be. If breakfast cereal is pulling your average up, what the heck is going to pull it down? There are many pasta sauces that have more added sugar than ice cream topping. Should diabetics eat as much ice cream topping as they want, but run like hell when they see a jar of marinara sauce? I mean, we've created a food supply that's pretty cockamamie, but the result of it is, if you're getting all this sugar when you eat pasta sauce, just imagine how much sugar you need at dessert time to feel satisfied. So that changes your demand, and then the food supply matches your demand, which exacerbates your demand, which further erodes the supply. The solution to a lot of this is illumination. Knowing what's actually in your food, knowing how it affects what you prefer. Because taste buds are malleable little fellas, and when they can't be with the foods they love, they learn to love the foods they're with, and you can rehabilitate them. You can learn to love food closer to nature, and when you do that, you actually taste the salt in breakfast cereal. I can't eat those cereals anymore, and neither can my family, and neither can most of my patients. You actually taste the sugar in pasta sauce. You won't want those pasta sauces or those salad dressings. And when you rehabilitate your diet and your taste buds, you need a lot less sugar at dessert time to feel satisfied. And you need a lot less salt when you're salting things to feel satisfied. Your demand changes. Suddenly you're shopping for different foods. Well, now if you do that all by yourself, you're going to have to work hard with the current food supply to find what you're looking for. But if we can make the identification and selection of healthful foods the cultural norm, if we can make it a craze, the way the Atkins diet was a craze, every supermarket in the United States will reliably fill up with more wholesome food to satisfy the demand. So, one anecdote is a natural experiment. We had the Atkins diet. It made people want low-carb food. Whether it was an enlightened desire is a different story, but people wanted it. The supply made it available. That's very encouraging. Now all we need to do is get everybody to want nutritious food, and I suspect the food supply will come around.